Hi everyone, this is Renee from Roundabout Stamps, and I'm here today to show you how to make this Happy Easter Bunny Impossible box. So I'm going to use our Happy Easter Bunny stamp set. I'll be using some of our Pixie cardstock, as well as some of our These Are My People paper pack. So let's go ahead and get started. The reason why it's called an impossible box is because you can take it and you pull the lid up and you can see inside. So there's your goodies. So it's not a typical, it looks like you just take the lid off, but it's all attached. So kids will have fun playing with this box. And I had fun making them. So I used our mint cardstock, and this is our mix-in. And I just think that paper is very pretty. I used our Tri-Blend marker in jade green for the ribbon. And I don't know if you can tell, but I also used our clear shimmer brush to go on the ribbon as well. So it gives it a little glitter. I took the jade marker and I went around the edging of my little saying. And of course you'll change this with the different paper packs that you use. So let's go ahead and get started with this one. Okay. So before you try it with your good cardstock and your good paper, I highly suggest going and using some of your white cardstock or something that isn't your favorite cardstock and trying it a couple of times. Being careful, because I did this, I went down too far on the lid and then I went over when I taped it together, and then I taped this on the wrong side. So you do need a little bit of practice, and honestly, I've done this 1, 2, and then the third time, and I think this is so pretty. But you definitely don't want to start first off with your pretty paper. So this paper is going to be cut at 10.5 and 10.5, and then these are the different score lines. 2.5 inches, 6 3/4, 8 inches, 9 1/4. You're going to rotate it. Then you're going to score it at 2.5 inches, 5 inches, 7.5 inches, and 10 inches. Now, all of this information will be on my blog, and that is roundaboutstamps.com. Let me go ahead and set this out of the way, and we'll get started with our Pixie Pink paper. So I'm going to go ahead and get my cutter, and first cut it down to the 10.5 inches by 10.5 inches. Okay, get that out of the way. And I'm going to go ahead and get my scorer. And go ahead and start at 2.5 inches, 6 3/4 inches, 8 inches, 9 1/4, and then rotate it. And that is going to be at 2.5 inches, 5 inches, 7.5 inches, and 10 inches. Okay, so we'll get that out of the way. So the next thing we're going to do is at the 8 inches, let me turn this over. At the 8 inches, we're going to fold that down and burnish. And this is where we are going to make our triangles. Okay? So in order to make the triangles, we're going to have to do a little bit of measuring. So we're going to measure from the edge over 1¼ inches. We're just going to mark that. And then we're going to go to the score line, measure over 1¼ inches. There's the other score line, measure over 1¼ inches. There's the other score line, and we're going to measure over 1¼ inches. Okay, sorry if you saw my head. All right. So the next thing we're going to do is go ahead and cut out these triangles. So grab your snips, and I'm going to go ahead and bring this towards me so I can see what I am doing. I'm going to go to the score line, and I'm going to give this a little bit of a lip here. There we go. Now we're going to take it from the 1¼ where we marked to the corner of my score. Make sure you don't go too far up because that starts going into your lid. Okay, go to the next one until we're all the way up. And you know, I was thinking this would be something good for some children to make as well. They could keep some of their favorite things in them. Kids like to do a lot of origami kind of things, kind of crafts. So this would be perfect. I know if I would have known how to do this when I was younger, I would have definitely done it. Because my grandmother had these little coin purses, and you squeeze them, and when you squeeze them, they opened. And I was fascinated with her coin purse. Okay, so the next thing we want to do is cut our score lines up to the 2½ inch score line. And it is completely okay to pause this and try again on your own, because I had to, and I'm sure the person who taught me had to do the same thing. And as far as giving credit where credit is due, I did learn how to do this from it's called Collaborative Collections, I think. And it was just really fun to learn something new. So I'm going to go ahead and burnish all of our lines now since we've done our cutting. And that is all the cutting that you have to do. And you can see how it's going to start coming together. Now we'll fold in. This is our bottom. Collaborative Collections, I think that's what it is. Okay. However you need to do this so it's easier for you. Doesn't always look the prettiest as we're doing it. And this is going to be flipped back. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it. There we go. So there is my paper. And you can see This is going to go back. And then the next thing I'm going to do is we're going to be folding this over is to put our score tape. So I've got score tape. You don't want to use regular adhesive. If you're giving this to children and even some adults, they will be opening and closing your box trying to figure out how you put this together. So I always like to make sure that gets stuck down very well. Take off the film. We're going to make sure that your top here is going backwards. And adhere it down. There you go. Just to make sure it's squared off, I go ahead and burnish again. But basically, there is your box. Okay. All right, so we're going to go ahead and take and fix our box here. I'm just going to take and put some more of our tear tape. You can use adhesive between each sheet if you'd like. Or a little bit of glue, but that's totally up to you. Rub that down so it sticks to your paper. Okay. I'm just going to bring that up. Make sure it sticks. I take my bone folder and just push it down. There we go. So almost through. Last thing we're going to do is our little edge here. And it starts to come together. You can see you just want to squish it down. And this right here, because it's not going to go all the way up or all the way to the edge, is how you make sure that everything lines up, that it can open and close. So I'm going to take some of my Tombow liquid glue in the blue, not the green, because this is stronger, and put that on there. And just hold it for a second while it adheres. So I hope you guys are having a great day. It's a little cloudy outside. Okay, it's a lot cloudy outside. Okay. So the more you open and close this, the easier it will be. You want to be careful, but the easier it will be for the mechanics of it to open and close. So you do kind of want to do it a few times. Now you see that this is not all the way. Try and put that where you can see it. It's got a little bit of a lip right there. Now you do want to try and make it go as tight together as possible, but I would use this as the back side and use this as the front because it's nice and pretty. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is go ahead and decorate. Our box, and I've already cut out our paper pack, and this is cut at 2 1/4 by 2 3/4. And then I also have these smaller ones cut at 1 inch by 2 1/4. The other thing that I've done is I've used my Cricut, and I have cut these cute little shapes for my Happy Easter. So you can see I've cut many because I'm going to plan on making quite a few of these here in the near future. The other thing that you want is to stamp out your bunny. I've gone ahead and stamped it out. This one did not have a thin cut die for it, so I went ahead and did my fussy cutting. And then you will want markers to color in the ribbon or even give depth to the bunny itself. So I've got 2 of those as well. And then the other thing I want to use is my shimmer brush so I can give a little sparkle to the bunny's ribbon there. So let's go ahead and get started on that part. This is the best part. I love doing this part. Decorating is my favorite part. Okay. So with these tri-blend markers, now if you don't have these or marker sets, you can always use watercolor pencils or even watercolors to color in your rabbit. A lot of people have been leaving the bunny white. I've also done a chocolate bunny, so I like the brown bunnies. But I'm going to go ahead and use the light end of the marker. And I'm just going to go around where the shade is. Not super careful. It's just giving a little shade. And then I'm going to do right around the ribbon itself. Okay, almost done. As my old art teacher can confess or let you know, I used to love colored pencils. So colored pencils would definitely be a good option for this to give it a lighter color. And then I think there's probably a few more coloring choices. Now, if you don't like the way something blended, we have blenders. And it has the fine nib and the broad nib. I'm just going to take that just to show you. You can push color back a little bit if you don't like it or if you want to blend it in a little bit more. Okay, so with this one, since it's pink, I am going to use our pink. Now this is kind of a brighter pink, so it may not totally match. I take the light color. But you know what? Easter is pastels and bright colors and spring, and I am really ready for some bright colors in our bleakness right now. So now I'm taking the dark end, and wherever there's a line, I'm just adding just a hint of the dark. And what that does is give it some depth. Okay, and then you can take the light end again and rub it in, and what that does, since it's an alcohol marker, it makes it blend together. So easy breezy. Okay, put that up, grab my shimmer. Actually, first, before I do the shimmer, I'm going to turn it over, and I have these foam left over from our shaker cards, Waste Not, Want Not. So I'm just going to put those on there, and we have the smaller pieces for the ears. Okay, so I'll go ahead and flip it over, and my shimmer brush. And you want to make sure you shake it. And when you store these, make sure your cap is up. Don't store them sideways. They'll leak. If you store them upside down, they'll leak. So you want to make sure that the brush end is up. There you go. And we have these in all colors. And it seems like every catalog, they're coming out with new colors. And like I have a peach. It is just so pretty. So it would be perfect to do in as well. So that gives it a little bit of glitter, which is also Easter. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is stamp my Easter bunny. And I have that already on a block. And I have my black stamp pad. Just ink it up good. So here's the trick. If you're new to inking, you want to make sure you tap, tap, twist, twist. Tap, tap, twist, twist. Tap, tap. And that gives you a good coverage. And just put that in the middle. Press down. And then flick it off. There you go. Easy, easy. Now, if you have something that's a little bit more solid in your stamping, on all of our stamps, we have this piece of foam. So you could lay what you're stamping down and then take it and stamp, and it'll give you better coverage. It'll take and bring the paper up to the stamp. Just FYI. Okay, so we'll save those, put those out of the way for a second. Let me put a piece of foam on the back of this. And you know what? The other thing I did was I went ahead and I took my marker and I just kind of hit the edge a little bit. And it just, it does the same thing as if you had a different tool. You can do this with your stamp pad, but because there's all these intricate designs kind of on this one, and it'll match what I used on my bunny, I went ahead and used my marker. There we go. Just set that out of the way. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is adhere our cardstock or our paper to our cardstock. Okay, just want to center that out. And center it again. And you're just going to do this all the way around. That made a weird noise. Oh, Lordy. So what are you doing in your spare time? Are you working from home? Are you an essential worker and you're out in the fields, which, you know what, I greatly appreciate? Are you staying home with your children? What are you doing? I would love to know. Okay. We're just going to go around the edges on the top. I just hope everybody's staying at home when they can, so we stop this spread. Okay, almost done. One more. Oop. And I may be out of tape. I thought I might run out. Okay, that's okay. We'll just stick this on here. This is the back anyway. Okay, so there we go. And I'm going to take my Happy Easter. I'm going to put this on the top. I'm going to take my bunny. And stick it to the front of my box. I just think these are just adorable. Okay, so there you go. There is your Impossible box where you can put all your kids' candy. You don't want them to have too much while you're at home. They'll be bouncing off the walls. But I just think this is the cleverest box. So you guys enjoy, have fun, show me what you make with this idea. And if you have any questions, you feel free to go ahead and message me or send me an email. And that link is on my website as well. You guys have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye.